I get asked all the time, both from new and already established agency owners, Connor, how do I structure my agency? And the truth is, well, it's very simple. There's no perfect answer. Every single agency that I worked with, and that's over 100 at this stage, has done things slightly differently. But what I can tell you is what worked for us, running over 1,000 projects per month and many thousands of individual tasks, and what I have seen working for other agencies that I coach. When I started, I had no clue what I was doing. I'd never run a business before, and I read a lot, but the books that I looked at didn't focus on organizational hierarchies and agencies. I just hired people when I saw problems. Clients not getting enough attention, hire somebody. Projects falling through the cracks, we've got to hire somebody again. We need new capabilities in our studio, we need to hire someone. Team having to work late or weekends, we're over capacity, hire someone. And the truth of this is that was reactive. There was no strategy in that at all. And that's fine when you're starting out. You don't know what you don't know, right? But after a few years of, let's say, trial and error, and I mean proper mistakes that cost us quite a bit of money over the course of our business journey, we landed on a structure that actually worked for our agency, and I see working elsewhere as well. I think about agency structure as two teams working parallel on the same projects. Team 1, client management, and these are the people who own the client relationships. Well, strategy to start with, well, that was me first and foremost, but I'm probably you. Project management, account management, and all client communications. Now, these could be just one role, or they could be a mixture of sales and client success managers. But ultimately, this is the person and those like them who are focused on keeping the clients engaged, informed, and working with us for longer. They are the bridge between sales and operations, and they allow your business to maximize its capacity. Team number 2 is creative fulfillment. These are the people who actually do the work. They're the designers, the developers, the animators, the videographers, the development team, whatever creative service you deliver. Now, the reason why I personally separate them is not about hierarchy, it's about focus. You need your client-facing team to understand their clients' objectives, the business objectives, to manage expectations, to maintain relationships, and your creative team don't need to do that. They need uninterrupted time to produce brilliant work. And when you mix everybody together, the creativity is lost. However, I would say that the greatest impact happens when both teams are completely aligned and the understanding of company objectives are truly met. When this happens, so does great work. But many agencies get stuck. And early on, I, as a business owner, did everything. I'd be on client calls, manage projects, do client communication, and review creative work before sending it to the client and waiting on the feedback. That probably sounds familiar because it happens regularly across the agencies I work with. We create a bottleneck ourselves. And at certain times, I was completely overwhelmed. The business could not grow beyond what I personally could handle. Does that sound familiar to you? The shift happened when we implemented clear handoffs between teams. Strategy and project management were owned by the client relationship team, and the studio then were allowed to focus on those endeavours that they were tasked with, the creative output. There is a slight caveat to this. We let our creative teams hold the briefing meetings with clients if needed and present the artwork to them, because we wanted them to own the project in its entirety until signed off. When the studio own a project, it's their responsibility. The brief doesn't get lost in translation, and the output starts and finishes with them. But we are the problem in our own business. You and I, when we started our own agency, we were probably the person who the client wants to work with the most. We had the best client relationships, they trust us, and they want to speak to us as well. And they probably think that our design's great too. But if you're the only person that a client can speak to, you've built a job, not a business. You have trained your clients to think you're the only person who can do their project. We had to implement proper communication protocols in our agency. I empowered my project managers to make decisions within defined parameters. And some clients didn't like being passed off to somebody else at first. A few pushed back, but when they saw faster responses, better service, and projects delivered on time and not me holding them up, they stopped complaining. And that freed me to focus on what actually mattered in our company. Business development, strategic planning, and Well, actually working on the business, not in it. Now, if you're a solo agency and you're working on your own, you have exactly the same principles to follow. You are just wearing all of the hats from the client management side of things through to the creative delivery. And you will continue doing so until you are in the position to hire. If I'm being completely honest, your job is strategy and discovery, project management, creative direction, obviously, and client communication. Then you have to start deciding what elements you need or want to outsource. Most owners keep the creative fulfillment close to themselves because that's what they do best. But in reality, the most effective way to grow is to leverage service delivery or to hire freelancers and contractors before making your first hire. But right now, the structure stays the same. You just happen to be the entire team at this point. And I'm always asked what I would do differently. Looking back, I would document our processes much earlier on. We eventually created SOPs or standing operating procedures for absolutely everything. But doing this from day one would have saved us thousands of pounds in mistakes and rework. It would have sped up our business no end, and I'll not lie, clients would have been happier because of it. Because when you scale without systems, something is going to break. There were inflection points in our studio where we grew fast and we let people down. You only get a couple of chances in business, and the second time you let somebody down, you could not expect them to stay. Thankfully, we were able to grow into our business pretty quickly, into that scaled business. Here's what I recommend for the structuring of your agency. If you're under 100k revenue, you're the client management team, you handle creative fulfillment, and you need to bring in freelancers early to help you scale. But what you have to do with every single freelancer and every single project is document everything as you go. When you're in that 100k to 500k revenue, hire a project manager first. Build a small core creative team and start implementing communication protocols. And when you're scaling beyond 500k per annum, not month, you need to split into proper client management and creative teams. Define a clear handoff process and implement decision-making frameworks like the 50 quid rule. This will allow you to free yourself from the day-to-day operations. Your agency structure should serve your business objectives, not the other way around. So ask yourself this: do you want to be a creative, or do you want to be a creative agency owner? Start simple, document what works, and evolve this SOPs or this framework based on where you're seeing the friction. Do not try to copy somebody else's structure. Build something that lets you deliver exceptional work while maintaining your quality of work and your sanity. And remember, the goal is to build a business that you can grow further, that you can scale without you being the bottleneck. Now, if you want help structuring your creative agency properly, the kind that actually scales, head over to moveapace.com and book a call with me. We'll look at where you are right this second, where you want to go, and we'll discuss the specific structure that will help you get there. Because at the end of the day, the right structure is the one that helps you move apace.